Hits Africa Radio.
Good morning. The time is exactly 7 o'clock right here in the studios of Hits Africa Radio in Ghana. You're logged on to www.modernghana.com on the tuning app. Hits Africa Radio. You can as well log on onto our website www.hitsafrica.org. Good morning. The time is exactly 7 o'clock right here in the studios of Hits Africa Radio. You're logged on to www.modernghana.com on the tuning app at Hits Africa Radio. You can as well follow us on all our social media handles. We are live on Facebook at Hits Africa Radio, on YouTube at Hits Africa Radio. Also, don't forget to chip in your comments on our Facebook wall or on our YouTube wall at Hits Africa Radio. This morning is part of news for News at 7. Stay tuned as I bring you the headlines. Akufo-Addo delivers first SONA in his second term. Schools record 381 coronavirus active cases. STC loses 2 million. 25 years old maths teacher in need of 32,000 Ghana cedis to undergo hip replacement history and surgery. Stay tuned as I bring you the news in details. The name is Abna Ahini.
Hits Africa Radio.
Akufo-Addo delivers first SONA in his second term. In accordance with Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution and says, the President shall, at the beginning of each session of Parliament and before a dissolution of Parliament, deliver to public a message on the state of the nation. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo performs his constitutional day this afternoon outside the Chamber of Parliament. The House will be privileged to receive the President, who is obligated to deliver the State of the Nation's address. His Excellency has given an indication to me that he is ready to do the obligation yesterday, Speaker Alban Bagbin announced on March. The address in his first will be in the second term of office, having been sworn into the highest office on the land of January 7, 2021. The last time President Akufo-Addo performed his constitutional duty was on January 5th this year, a few days to the dissolution of the 7th Parliament of the Fourth Republic. This was to end the first fourth term. Mr. Speaker, it has been my great pleasure and exceptional privilege these past 4 years to have served as President of our beloved country. I am grateful to this honorable House for its cooperation to the enterprise to attain our common goal and aspiration for advancing in peace, progress, and welfare of the Ghanaian people. A part of this concluding remarks were: in other stories, coronavirus record 381 active cases right here in Ghana. The Ghana Health Service says as of March 7, 2021, schools has recorded 381 active cases out of 1,709 cumulative case counts. So far, 381 schools out of about 6,000 have recorded cases of COVID-19 among students and pupils since schools reopened in January this year. The number of recoveries stood at 77.7%, but there is no death or fatalities recorded. Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaje, the Director General of Ghana, announced This as the COVID-19 media update the Pediase presidential lodge in the Eastern region. He said the Northeastern region was the only region with no cases of COVID-19 recorded in schools. Also, regions including Ahafo, Bono, and Upper West that previously recorded cases now have no cases. There are a total of 86,737 accumulated COVID-19 cases since Ghana recorded her first 2 cases in March 12 in 2020. So far, 656 people have sadly succumbed to the disease. The Ghana so far conducted 9,293,189 tests with 81,299 representing 97.7%. The active cases stood at 4,783 as of March 5, declining from 8,000 over the past 2 weeks. In other stories, 25-year-old teacher in need of 32,000 to undergo a placement in surgery. A 25-year-old female mathematics teacher, Portia Efriye of Ketechua MA Basic School in the Ichiman in Wabiaja North District of Ashanti region, urgently need 32,000 Ghana cedis to undergo surgery of being rigs paralyzed in the coming days. Ms. Portia Efriye, the only mathematics teacher for the Keteria MAJHS, is suffering from avascular necrosis of the left hip, which requires a total replacement through open surgery. The orthopedic or spine surgery explains because Ms. Portia is a sickle cell patient and suffering from avascular necrosis. Her left hip bone has sharply deformed, with all her cartilages gone, leaving a little that they could hold to perform replacement surgery. The young teacher is therefore appealing to the public for support to enable her to undergo surgery, which will cost her 32,000 Ghana cedis only. Currently, I'm left in the house. I can't walk to school to teach. The doctor says I will paralyze if they don't perform urgent surgery on me. The money they are demanded for, I can't afford. My parents also don't have the financial muscle to pay for my surgery in the first place, she disclosed. Currently, I have been moving from church to church with my mother, soliciting for financial support to enable me to undergo this surgery. The money they are demanding for is what we still can't afford. My wish is to impact society through teaching, but my current situation is shortening my vision in life, she broke in tears. She added, my biggest worry now is my final year students who don't have any mathematics teacher to teach them. I don't know if I would be able to teach soon to them, else they'll be able to fail their examination. I am begging Ghanaians to donate support to the cost of my surgery so I can be able to, as soon as possible, go to work for Ghana and the Ketechua community. In other stories, coronavirus STC losses 2 million every month. The Chief Executive Officer of the State Transport Corporation, Nana Akomia, has made a shocking revelation about the losses that the State Transport Corporation has made since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Coronavirus has struck all countries, including Ghana, for the past year. The disease has affected the thousands of Ghanaians and claimed hundreds of lives. According to the Ghana Health Service, Ghana's current active cases stand out at 4,866 with 373 new cases. The country has recorded 86,465 confirmed cases with 80,952 recoveries or discharged and 647 deaths. The disease has negatively impacted companies just as much as it has affected economies, and one of the companies is the STC. Speaking on Peace FM's Kokroko program, Nana Akomia disclosed that the outbreak of coronavirus have caused the state's transport corporation is lost to a million avenue. He noted that since March last year till date, the company has lost 40% of its revenue, amounting to over 2 million monthly. When the borders were closed, because of COVID-19, we lost about 2.2 million every month, he said. In other stories, Galamsey remains a major problem. Despite a spirited fight against illegal small-scale mining in the country on its assumption of office as president in 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has admitted that the practice was a problem. Addressing the 8th Parliament on Tuesday, March 9, President Akufo-Addo said his call for a national discourse is illegal small-scale mining at least yielded results. Yes, in the last 4 years, so much has been achieved in cleaning up this industry. Training miners is the best method of mining, introducing mining, enacting additional regulation, he admitted. But the reality is that illegal small-scale mining remains a major problem. A national dialogue is expected to be held under the auspices of the new Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Ebu-Gianapo, to regulate the sector. In 2017, President Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line, promising to eradicate the canker from the mining sector. I have said it in the cabinet, and perhaps this is the first time I am making this public, that I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. Well, this is a choice I have to make as a human being. Do you do what is right, or you think you will make me get along? I think you do what is right and what you are required to do, he said. Many have attributed a drop in the vote margin for the New Patriotic Party (NPP) over the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the last year's election to his fight against Galamsey. In other stories in politics, for more to do more, I intend to do so, says the President of the Republic of Ghana. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has declared his intention to make sure the declaration call that preceded the last year's election among members of the New Patriotic Party (NPP) for him to do more in 4 years in to be released. For him, the NPP won the December 7, 2020 elections because they delivered most of their promises between 2017 and 2020. Between that 2017 and 2020, I sought to deliver on the mandate reposed on me and my party. The New Patriotic Party, again and once again, the confidence of the Ghanaian people. It was by no means a straightforward task. We were able to deliver most of our 2016 promises. In spite of the considerable challenges we confronted and the setbacks were encountered, we were confident our record in office put in as good stead before the electorate and earn as a second term, which we did. It means the reason for which the Ghanaian people went to the polls on the December 7, that is to seek improvements in their living standard, and the rapid transformation of the economy must continue in the week. President Akufo-Addo expressed these sentiments in his first State of the Nation's address to the 8th Parliament on Tuesday, March 9. He was delivering the address as per Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution. It is an address that comes a few days after the Supreme Court affirmed his presidency following a challenge filed by his predecessor, John Dramani Mahama. President Akufo-Addo said he inherited a flourishing economy from Mr. Mahama, but he has so far transformed the economy and brought it back on track. Mr. Speaker, Between 2017 and the first quarter of 2020, we had made considerable gains in the management of the national economy, where we witnessed annual average GDP growth of 7%, 7 digital inflation, reduced fiscal deficits, and 3 consecutive years of primary surpluses. A relatively stable exchange of rates, a significant improvement in the current account, with 3 consecutive years of trade surpluses, strong foreign exchange reserve buffet, marked reduced lending rates and appreciated job creation. But the president admitted that COVID-19 eroded some gains made over the period, seeing a revision of growth rate. He assured that his second term he will see to do more for all. It is clear we have made significant strides in the formalization of the economy, and we will do even more in the going forward. Moving on to African stories. In the African world of African stories, in Senegal, a Senegalese opposition group has suspended plans for 3 days of huge protests called by opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Mr. Sonko was freed from detention on Monday but still faces a rape charge, which he says is politically motivated. At least 8 people have died during days of violent protest in Senegal, sparked by the arrest of Mr. Sonko on charges of public disorder. In Nigeria, Nigerian army criticizes preacher for divisive comments. A controversial Islamic cleric in Nigeria has classified his comments after the Nigerian army cautioned him about his utterances. Sheikh Ahmed Gumi reported that the army was divided along religious lines. The Kaduna-based preacher, however, told the BBC Pidgin that the military did not understand his comment. When I was talking about those problems in the military, I was referring to years ago, between 2010 and 2015, when certain people were in charge and a lot of bad things happened. It was between these years that many bombs were planted, and even at the Jaji cantonment, we lost a popular Muslim general, and I myself was lucky that many bombs were planted. And I myself was very lucky to escape because I had a bomb planted for me, Sheikh Gumi said. The Islamic cleric, who is also a retired army major, has gained increased popularity in Nigeria after his recent discussions with a group of armed bandits traveling in Northwest African region of the country. The Nigerian army said in a statement that its soldiers were the pride of the nation and it will never allow religious leanings to influence their work. In Ethiopia, Ethiopia's main opposition party pulls out of election. A woman takes part in celebrations for the return of the previously banned anti-government OLF in 2018. The Oromo Liberation Front (OLF) has become the second major political party in Ethiopia to announce that it will not take part in the election. OLF regrettably announces that participation in the upcoming general election is completely prevented, a statement from the party said. Blaming Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Prosperity Party for the election, the party said the jailing of some of their leaders and the alleged closing down of the offices by the government had disrupted, and said the jailing of some members before the June election has caused some of the accused of Abiy of narrowing the democratic space, a claim the Prime Minister's party denies. The OLF decision has caused a rift among top party officials. A faction led by Deputy Chairman Arosu Bikali dismissed the announcement and vowed to take part in the poll. A faction led by the Arosu Bikali. Much of the problem is internal and external. The spokesperson of the faction allied, Mr. Arosu, told the BBC. The ruling Prosperity Party also dismissed the claims with the party spokesperson calling them baseless. We acknowledge might be problems, but I don't think it can be a reason to pull out of the election, Bikini Harisa added. The OLF, a former rebel group, is one of the oldest parties in Ethiopia. It has a huge following in Ethiopia's most popular Oromia region, where Mr. Abiy comes from. Last week, the Oromo Federalist Congress (OFC), the party of popular opposition politician Jawar Mohammed, announced that it was forced to pull out of the election. The June election will be a test for Mr. Abiy, who came to power in 2018 and led a series of popular reforms, including the peace pact with Ethiopia's former foe Eritrea, an achievement that won him the Nobel Peace Prize. His reputation has, however, taken a massive hit since the launch of a military offensive to remove leaders of the northern region of Tigray, whom he accused of treason. The destruction of Tigray, the killings of hundreds of civilians, and also the displacement of thousands others have been widely condemned around the world. In other stories, Burundi President Evariste Ndiyishimiye has granted amnesty to more than 5,000 prisoners. A presidential decree dated March 5, 2021 and made public on Monday granted amnesty to 5,255 inmates countrywide, with the exception of those who committed crimes against humanity and other major crimes. It grants amnesty to prisoners definitely sentenced to less than or equal to 5 years of all offenses, with the exception of genocide, crime against humanity, war crimes, and robbery, illegally owning arms, and robbery, terrorism, machinery, or bioterrorism, voluntary homicide, rape, and human trafficking. Inmates convicted of other minor crimes, pregnant women, or those with children in the prison, minors imposed, prisoners with chronic diseases, prisoners aged 70 and above, and inmates with mental disorders are expected to benefit from the president's amnesty. Those convicted of corruption and/or corruption-related offenses, regardless of the sentence imposed, provided they have paid the amount of embezzlement and damages and interest pronounced by the courts and tribunals of benefit, the statement released. That comes as the president has launched a clampdown on corruption that is said to have greatly impacted the economies of decades. According to Transparency International report of 2020, Burundi ranks at 165 out of 180 countries in the corruption index. Dozens of government officials, including law officers, police, have been arrested for corruption and relieved from their duties identified. Last year, President Ndayishimiye granted amnesty for 4 journalists convicted and threatened of the country's security. They were sentenced to 2.5 years in prison and were released on Christmas Eve after spending 430 days in jail. The 4 journalists were arrested in October 19 for reporting in the Bubanda province in the insecurity that befell in the region. They were accused of attempts of conspiracy and undermined the country's internal security, which of the 4 journalists refunded and argued they were doing their work. In June 2020, the court dismissed the appeal and they were sent to Bubanza prison to serve their sentence. But they were granted a presidential pardon later in the year. In Tunisia, 39 migrants off Tunisia coast. At least 39 migrants joined off Tunisia when 2 boats capsized on Tuesday, the Defense Ministry said, as numbers reaching the dangerous crossing to Europe continue to rise. Rescuers pulled 165 survivors from the floating boat out of the sea to safety. It was not immediately clear what caused both to capsize, but vessels leaving the North African coast to Europe are often heavily offloaded, makeshift, quick, departed at the night even in rough weather to avoid detection from the Coast Guard. Tunisian National Guard spokesperson Houssen Eddine Djebali said the search is still on for survivors and bodies. The defense of the ministry said 39 bodies have been retrieved so far, with children among the dead, but no further details were given. The boats left shore overnight, carrying many migrants from sub-Saharan Africa dreaming of reaching Europe. But they were spotted by the Coast Guard of the Tunisian port of the Sfax, according to the authorities. Last year saw an upset of the makeshift boats attempting to across the central Mediterranean and deadliest route to the would-be migrants in Europe. Such vessels have continued to take the sea almost daily in the year, despite the frequent poor weather. Departures have continued to rise, said the Radam Ben Ammar of the Tunisian Forum for Economic and Social Rights. Since the beginning of 2021, 94 migrants have been intercepted according to the accounts kept by the organization against 47 in the same period of 2020. Meanwhile, 1,736 people have been arrested for attempting the crossing, doing double in the number in the same period last year. Between January 1 and February 31, 3,800 migrants arrived illegally by Italy by sea, according to the UN Refugee Agency, including nearly 1,000 via Tunisia and 2,500 via neighboring Libya. Among illegal arrivals in Italy during 2020, Tunisian citizens constituted the biggest national contingent, numbering 12,000, the UNHCR said. But many foreign nationals have also used Tunisia as a jumping-off point for Europe. Since the start of 2021, over half of migrants arrested the waters of Tunisia were from sub-Saharan Africa, according to the Tunisia Forum for Economic and Social Rights. In February 2022, migrants of various African nationalities who departed Sidi Mansour near the city of Sfax disappeared at the sea, while 25 were rescued by the Tunisian Navy around 1,000 kilometers, about 60 miles from the Italian island Lampedusa. One body was retrieved. In January, the Tunisian Navy intercepted 50 migrants, including 4 Tunisians. Niger president wins $5 million Mo Ibrahim African Leadership Prize. Niger's president Mahamadou Issoufou has won this year's $5 million Ibrahim Prize for achievement in African leadership for his work in promoting economic progress and joining regional efforts in the queue of threats of Islamic militants. Issoufou was first elected in 2001 to re-elected in 2016. He stepped down after serving 2 terms, unlike other African leaders such as Guinea Alpha Condé and Ivory Coast Alassane Ouattara. He pushed through the changes in the constitution to run for the 3rd terms. In the face of the most severe political and economic situations, included violent extremism and increasing desertification, President Mahamadou Issoufou has led his people on the path of progress, said Festus Mogae. Here lies the end of the local stories. Moving on to the foreign news. Stay tuned.
Hit Africa Radio.
You're logged on to Hit Africa Radio right here in the studios of Ghana. We are transmitting live. You're logged on to www.modernghana.com. On the TuneIn app, Hit Africa Radio. You can as well follow us on all our social media handles. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Hit Africa Radio. Moving on to the foreign stories for this morning. In the United Kingdom, don't think pandemic is over, witty warns. A lot of people may think this is all over, It is very easy to forget how quickly things can turn bad, he said. His comments came amid pressure from the backbench Tories to ease lockdown more quickly. Given the job in affection, the COVID recovery group, which includes over 70 MPs, has pushed the Prime Minister to relax more steps more quickly. Appearing before the Science and Technology Select Committee, Prof. Witty said, under all the scenarios, if we unlock everything suddenly, all the modeling suggests we would get a substantial surge while the people are not protected. So only for the first four priority groups, the over 70 health and the care staff and extremely clinical vulnerables will also help develop significant protection at the monument. Most COVID deaths have been in these groups, but nearly half of hospital admissions have been seen under the 70s. And most transmission was driven by younger people who made more social contact, Prof. Witty said. So the UK's policy of focusing on older age groups means it will be some time before the vaccine rollout will have a significant impact on the virus spread. Moving on to the entertainment news for this morning, stay tuned as I bring you the news.
Hit Africa Radio.
Moving on to the entertainment news this morning, right here in our locality in Ghana. Fela Makafui discloses plans of going to law school, how she became rich, and more. Ghanaian actress come entrepreneur Precious Fela Makafui Frimpong has disclosed in an interview with the Abeku Santana on KFM her plans of enrolling in the law school next year. According to Fela Makafui, she has acquired a lot of wealth and is ready to add more value to herself by going to the law school. The initial plan was for me to go to school 2 years ago, but due to one or two reasons, I had to postpone. And with my baby, it will be difficult to go this year, so I've decided to start school next year. I may not be doing a white-collar job, but I am rich, and I can boast of some properties, she tasted. Speaking on her background, Fela Makafui made it clear that she didn't come from a completely poor home because her mother was herself employed and running two shops to take care of her needs. In other stories, do not disrespect Sarkodie, Shatawale, Stonebwoy just because of small successes of new actresses. Ekoso hitmaker Kofi Jamal stated. Fast-rising Ghanaian rapper Kofi Jamal has called for total respect and reverence accorded to the likes of Sarkodie, Shatawale, and Stonebwoy, who have paved the way for young artists like himself. According to Ekoso hitmaker, although some new artists are doing well and their names are all over, does not mean their seniors need to be disrespected and for the sake of it. This comment from Kofi Jamal comes on the back of the numerous debates on social media where fans and social media users are comparing some new artists to the older ones and are boldly asserting that the new vibes are doing better than the oldies. From people comparing your tag to Sarkodie to Jackie being compared to Efia, Kofi Jamal in a tweet has discouraged such unhealthy conversations and comparison and called for total respect to be given to the big old dogs. She wrote, "Stop disrespecting people like Sarkodie, Shatawale, Stonebwoy, and the like just because of an achievement made by newbies. What we've come to see and accomplish this year by their handworks and their consistency. Let's put in some respect and put their names on, please. Stop disrespecting people like them, because if it's not them, we've not come to see and accomplish just years of hard working and consistency. So therefore, let's put some respect on their names." Here lies the end of the news for this morning. Once again, onto the headlines I read this morning were: Nana Akufo-Addo delivers his first SONA in his second term of office. Schools recall 381 coronavirus active cases. STC losses 2 million Ghana cedis monthly. 25 years old maths teacher in need of 32,000 to undergo hip surgery. This and many other stories we brought your way this morning on the News Hour. Log down to www.modernghana.com. On the TuneIn app, Hit Africa Radio. You can as well follow us on all our social media handles at Hit Africa Radio. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Once again, the name was Abna Ahenye. Have a good morning.
Hit Africa